in the past 3 days, we've been deeply engrossed in the politics of the USA. Almost every Kenyan by now knows Trump is the new president of the USA, and Kamala Harris lost that election. Well, I have 2 pointers to note in that entire election. One, Kamala Harris may have lost it this year, but in 2028, I am almost sure that Kamala Harris will be the next president of the United States of America. Kamala Harris has a good profile, and she has really built her name during this election. Let me refresh your minds. Before Kamala Harris came into the picture, Joe Biden was the preferred candidate of the Democratic Party. When Joe Biden was pressured by Barack Obama and the rest of them all to step down for Kamala Harris, Kamala Harris has had a short span of time to campaign and popularize herself. It is possible that time worked in her disfavor. The reason why I'm saying Kamala Harris may become easily the next president of the USA in 2028 is because Trump will have served his 2 terms. And I think according to the constitution of the USA, you cannot serve another 3rd term. So the field will be open to Republicans and to Democrats to battle each other. And it appears Kamala Harris will be the preferred candidate of the Democrats even in 2028. Since I do not see any other strong Democrat who's strong enough to rival Kamala Harris in 2028. So it is possible that in 2028, America will have their first female president. So our goose is not cooked and our time is not over. She's young. Kamala Harris compared to Donald Trump is close to, I think, 16 years younger. She has time to become the next president of the United States of America. Now, to our own current issues here in this country, I would like to address myself to the speech that was issued by the current Deputy President, Kithure Kindiki. Kithure Kindiki gave a candid speech on how he has a good scorecard as the former Minister of Interior, as the former CS. He took his time to elucidate on the measures and on the policies he took as the CS Interior and on how he thinks they were successful. But before I delve into that, I want to remind him of a statement Ndindi Nyoro made yesterday. I'm not sure if it's yesterday or today. Ndindi Nyoro said that as the budget chair, it is not his role, it is not his work to come convince Kenyans on how the economy is working. In fact, if the economy is working, it is for us to tell Ndindi Nyoro and to congratulate him and the president and the government in place for the good economy and for the revamping of the economy of Kenya in 2024. Because if the economy was working, Ndindi Nyoro would not have to praise the economy. If Kindiki worked and if he has a good scorecard as the CS Interior, he does not have to tell us what he did as the CS of Interior. We could see for ourselves. The scorecard of Kindiki as the CS for Interior is marred with abductions, arbitrary arrests, and killings of Gen Zs. His scorecard is marred by irregular deployment of police to Haiti. His scorecard has been tainted by the increased banditry in the North Rift and in Rift Valley. Kindiki cannot tell us that he has such a good scorecard that it is possible the president promoted him to a higher job because he really performed as the CS Interior. Kindiki cannot tell us that as the CS Interior, he is proud that he reduced the waiting time for passports from, say, 2 weeks to 3 days or 7 days. Because it should not be a priority for this government to fast track the printing of passports at the expense of national IDs. A national ID is more important to a Kenyan citizen than a passport. Not everyone wants to travel abroad. Not everyone is interested in those house help and security guard jobs the government is offering. Not everyone is interested. And we have more, we value the national ID more than the passport. Because overprinting passports and fast-tracking the printing of passports at the expense of IDs is enabling brain drain, what Kibaki was against. The government is so comfortable with exporting labor out of this country instead of focusing on how to make this economy better, instead of focusing on how to improve labor in this country, instead of focusing on how to attract more investors in this country, instead of focusing on how to reduce the tax regime that we have in this country. Because the punitive tax regime we have in Kenya is killing our industries. It is killing the private and the public sector, and especially the private sector, which is the largest employer in Kenya. Because people think that the government is the largest employer. Wrong. The largest employer in Kenya is the private sector, and the government has been crippling the private sector with punitive taxes and policies left, right, and center. You've also seen what they are doing with agriculture. So we need to start addressing serious issues here. We cannot place more importance on passports than we place on national IDs. PS Julius and the CS Interior, who will be appointed after Kindiki, should make it a priority to issue Kenyans with national identity cards. Because a national ID is a proof that you are a bona fide citizen of Kenya, and secondly is an enabler of access to government services. Hata help watu hawezi pata bila ID. So we need to place our priorities right. And for Kindiki to say that he ended the banditry in Rift Valley, that is another story. And he knows it is false, and he knows he is flogging a dead horse. And he knows he's lying through his teeth. Because the banditry that is in Rift Valley has been ongoing for close to 20 years. And Kindiki knows who are the enablers of banditry in Rift Valley. Same as the president and those that are in government. They know who has been sponsoring banditry in Rift Valley. Those good citizens from Rift Valley, I wonder, always have guns, always have ammunition. At the same time, the same citizens do not have access to education, access to water, and access to government services. But they have access to guns and ammunition. Tell me where they get these guns and where they get this ammunition. If it is not some cabal funding this banditry for their own interests. And they know these people. And if they want to deal with them, they will deal with these enablers of banditry. Kindiki has not dealt with the banditry issue. He has tried, but he has not dealt with that issue as it was supposed to be, as he was supposed to as the CS Interior. The CS Interior Ministry will be and has always been a hard task for any minister in Kenya. It was a hard nut to crack for George Saitoti. Matiang'i tried. Joseph Nkaiseri had a hard time with that ministry. Same with William Olenchimama, because that ministry has some people and as some groups that have interest in that ministry, that control how this country runs in almost every sector, because that interior ministry runs almost all other ministries in this country. That is why Fred Matiang'i was almost a prime cabinet secretary when he was serving as CS Interior in Uhuru's time. And Ruto must think, and he must take his time to choose the next CS Interior, because that ministry is too important for this country to be left to jokers and to be left to dishonest fellows. Kindiki also told us that under his tenure, it appears the police did a good time. It appears the police outdid themselves. And it appears the police service is to be praised. One, because the police service was deployed to Haiti. Why are we prioritizing deploying police to Haiti while we still have insecurity issues in this country? We have insecurity issues on the Mwingi-Somalia border. We have insecurity issues at Lamu and at the Boni Forest. We have insecurity issues in Rift Valley. We have insecurity issues in Northeastern. And yet we have enough police to spare to deploy to Haiti, just because Joe Biden set aside a budget of $300 million to fund the Haiti mission. They think we don't know these things. Their motivation for money motivated them to send Kenyan police officers to Haiti. It was not out of love for the restoration of peace in Haiti. Because whatever is happening in Haiti is not even terrorism. It is citizens rising up against bad leadership. The same way we've risen against bad leadership in the recent months. They should not be subjected to more police and military deployments. They can deal with their own problems. And even so, the UN can deploy security forces to deal with the issue in Haiti, because it is a diplomatic issue that can be dealt with diplomatically. The issue in Haiti is an elections problem. The citizens of Haiti feel that they have not had free and fair elections for a long period of time. So they are dissatisfied and they are discontented with that government. They are discontented with the puppeteering in Haiti and the picking of certain prime ministers by the US government to head Haiti. Even if you are a Haiti citizen today, you would be as displeased as they are. We need to get these facts right. Kindiki also thinks that the police did a good job because they, in quotes, dealt with the Gen Z protests. How is that a good job? How is it a good job for the police to kill, to abduct, to torture, and to detain without trial citizens who are fighting for their rights? How is it a good job? We need to be factual, and we need to be sober-minded and level-headed when we consume and when we listen to some of these things from government. Because this government has never had a communication problem. There is just nothing to communicate. It is improper and it is hypocritical for Kithure Kindiki to say that the police did a good job over the recent months because they have dealt with protesters brutally. And if we have to go to another protest to end police brutality in this country, we will for sure go to another protest. Like the way Nigerians with SARS ended police brutality in Nigeria. And I stand today here to say police brutality is a thing for Africa that we need to rise above. You see, when you look at what is happening in Mozambique, you will see that the Mozambicans are also going through the same problems. They have a police force that is brutally beating them down and shooting them down. And that should stop in this continent. That should stop. When will Africa free itself from such backward thinking? Why should the police be misused by those in power to mishandle and to harass citizens who are fighting for their rights? We need to bring an end to that. Thank you.
Thank you. Nice one.